Welcome, Mason Patriots. This is Mason Nation. I'm Shane Smith, your host. We are going to be having our pre-game Mason Madness show tonight. The place is filling up. The crowd is great. It's cold outside, but it's hot in here. We're going to start off tonight talking a little bit about basketball because this is Mason Madness, the kickoff to the 2012-2013 basketball season. I'm joined now with the co-hosts of Courtside Seats, Dan Zimmet and Cody Norman, and we're going to talk a little basketball. So, guys, thank you for being on the show with us. We really appreciate it. As you know, this is basketball season, biggest draw for Mason sports fans. So let's start. How's the season going to go? Where can we improve? Who are we looking at as our biggest threats? What's going on?
Well, we really need to improve on turnovers this year. We averaged 15.2 turnovers last year, which is way too much for any team in the NCAA. Second, we lost 3 major seniors on this team. Ryan Pearson, Andre Cornelius, and Mike Morrison were huge for this team. But captain by committee might not be a terrible thing for us this year. So in the end, with Coach Hewitt in his second year, I really think that we're going to have a good year this year.
You talked about Mike Morrison and Ryan Pearson. How's our big game down low going to be?
With Johnny Williams being down there, of course, Aaron Coates, and of course John Arledge, I think that you're really going to still see a big presence down there.
And Cody, with our freshmen coming in this year, who are you looking at to step up as a freshman?
I think the top 2 guys that we're really looking at to step up are Patrick Holloway, number 1. Patrick, a pure shooter out of Paul VI, a guy that each and every one of these guys raves about the way that he shoots the ball. And another guy, Marko Gujanicic, out of Serbia from California schools. In California, is a guy who has that real European style of game, a guy who can at 6'8" can really handle the ball, can really pass the rock, and somebody who can shoot from the perimeter. It's such a big guy.
Yeah, I've heard about Marko and his three-point shooting. So is that something we're going to rely on this year, you think?
I don't know if we're going to rely on that. I think that Coach Hewitt's always been a guy that relies a lot on guard play, a guy that is going to rely heavily on guys like Von Bray and Sherrod Wright. But it certainly doesn't hurt to have somebody like Marko that can step out and shoot threes.
I'd like to get your guys' take on who you think the biggest threats in the CAA to us being successful will be this year. Dan, how about we start with you?
I really think it's going to be Drexel, Shane. I mean, they got Franz Massenat, who was a major part of their team last year. He was up for Player of the Year for a really long time. And of course, Bruiser Flynn at the coach, CAA Coach of the Year last year. Really an unstoppable coach in the CAA. With the departure of VCU and ODU this year, I think Drexel really steps up to be the number 1 team that we have to look out for.
Cody, what do you think?
I guess first let me start by saying that Bruiser Flynn, like Dan mentioned, is a guy that I would pay the price of admission to see Bruiser Flynn run up and down the sideline. But for me, I think that Monty Ross, the team that Monty Ross has in Delaware, led by Devon Sadler, is outstanding. Devon in Delaware put up 36 points against us last year and is a guy who at any point can go off and score 36, 40 points. A guy like Cam Long, a guy like Ryan Pearson that we've seen here.
And Dan, you mentioned it about VCU and ODU leaving the CAA. How do you feel with the decision to keep us in the CAA?
I'm okay with the decision. I mean, it was a decision obviously made by the entire athletic office. And I think we're still going to be very competitive. We increased our out-of-conference schedule significantly, picking up teams like UVA, Maryland in the Verizon Center. So losing big teams like that, I don't think will hurt us too much because of the out-of-conference schedule we were able to pick up.
And just before we let you guys go, the motto of this team last year was for the team. And that seemed to be Coach Hewitt's big, his message and the way that he was going to run things. Is that how it's going to be this year? Do you think that all the new players have bought into the system?
I absolutely think so, and I think Cody would agree with me. We've talked to plenty of players before the season even started yet, and they're all about for the team. They talk about how well the team camaraderie is, how much they joke around in the locker room. So they've really bought into it.
That's great. And Cody, you guys do a show, so how about you have a shameless plug here for your post-game show?
Tune in. Let's check us out every home game, most away games before the game. We'll be on about 50 minutes before the game, and we'll be back in studio after the game as well.
All right, thanks, guys. We really appreciate you for coming out. Thanks. So there you had it. That's the Courtside Seats co-host, guys. They run a great show down there. I hope you guys could hear all that, and you're going to be listening in during the game and after the game, post-game as well.